It is indeed surprising that any of our pilots returned alive. Any success our fighter pilots may have had against the Japanese Zero fighter is not due to the performance of the airplane we fly, but is the result of the comparatively poor marksmanship of the Japanese, stupid mistakes made by a few of their pilots and superior marksmanship and teamwork of some of our pilots. The F-4F airplane is pitifully inferior in climb, maneuverability and speed. This damning indictment was from James Jimmy Thach's action report after the Battle of Midway. Now let's compare this to British test pilot Eric Winkle-Brown's assessment. I would still assess the Wildcat as the outstanding naval fighter of the early years of World War II. I can vouch as a matter of personal experience, this Grumman fighter was one of the finest shipboard aeroplanes ever created. Well, that is only what could be described as a highly contradictory set of assessments. So what is the truth on the abilities of the Grumman F-4F Wildcat? Let's take a look. The first important fact to note is that the F-4F, designated as the Martlet in the Royal Navy, was introduced to war 1 year before the Wildcat saw action in the Pacific. This may not seem enough time for standards to shift, but war footing certainly had the effect of dramatically escalating and driving technological change. So maybe by the early war standards, Brown's assessment was indeed fair. Secondly, in Brown's defense, is the Martlet was replacing the outdated Gloucester Sea Gladiator and the Fairey Fulmar. Indeed, the introduction of the Martlet represented a significant leap forward in capability for the Fleet Air Arm. The Martlet's monoplane design, retractable landing gear, and more powerful radial engine offered superior speed, maneuverability, and firepower compared to the aircraft it was replacing. Now turning our attention to Jimmy Thach's scathing indictment, it's critical to remember the main foe, indeed nemesis of the F-4F Wildcat, was the very modern Mitsubishi Zero. And he was right. In comparison to the Zero, the Wildcat was outclassed in all performance metrics. The Zero was faster by a full 10 miles per hour. The Zero had a climb rate of 3,300 feet per minute, the F-4F a sluggish 2,000 feet per minute. The Zero could turn in a tight 262 feet diameter. The Wildcat needed a massive 360. The Zero dive speed 30 miles per hour faster than the Wildcat. You get the picture. The Wildcat was no match against the Zero in a dogfight. The saving grace of the Wildcat was its ability to absorb damage and keep flying. This gave the pilots time to exercise maneuvers like the Thach Weave, designed by and named after Jimmy Thach himself. The weave involves two Wildcats flying in tandem. When an enemy aircraft attempts to engage in a dogfight by targeting the lead aircraft, both Wildcats turn toward each other in a coordinated, weaving pattern that forces the Zero to follow through the crossover, placing it in wingman's crosshairs. I don't think it can be overstated how this superior tactic allowed the inferior Wildcat to get a very respectable air combat kill-to-loss ratio of around 6-to-1 in the Pacific. So I guess both men were right. In the Royal Navy, the F-4F was a welcome replacement of older aircraft, and U.S. Navy pilots, including Thach, were greatly dissatisfied with the Wildcat's inferior performance against the Zero. And while not being really relevant in this discussion, it would be remiss of me not to mention the Wildcat was the first aircraft to utilize the stow wing. Grumman's stow wing design was both elegant and practical. Unlike the simple hinge mechanisms used in some earlier designs, the stow wing featured a complex but reliable system of pivots and locks that ensured the wings could be quickly and securely folded or extended. This capability was critical for rapid aircraft deployment and recovery operations during combat situations, allowing for quicker turnarounds between sorties and maximizing the effectiveness of carrier air wings. And that is a wrap on the Grumman F4F Wildcat. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you have information on the Wildcat, please leave a comment. And if you want to see more like this, please subscribe. So until next time, farewell for now.